Hello indie game fans, in a bid to broaden my gaming palette, which I highly recommend you do as well, and by popular demand, I've decided to dip my toe into the waters to see what else is out there, where we're looking at horror games here. So my foot will probably get bitten off by some horrible monster from the depths. However, if you love the scares and spooks, this video will be for you, with quite a number of throwback games and some titles which have effectively made the mundane become scary, so no one is safe anywhere anymore. Let's begin with The Backrooms 1998, a first-person psychological survival horror game that uses the found footage format to add to the level of creep.
Hello?
Oldies among us might remember the original Blair Witch movie, which did kick off a whole new style of filmmaking, where I think that you can trace the lineage of this game back to that.
Anyone?
In addition to the film grain and the slightly warped or fisheye look, the assets in this are a little low fidelity as well, which gives it an unnerving look. It tells the story of a teenager who fell into the backrooms, which, as Wikipedia defines it, is an urban legend and creepypasta describing an endless maze of randomly generated office rooms and other environments characterized by the smell of wet carpet, but in this iteration, there are monsters as well.
Stay away from me! Help someone!
It is from a solo developer, which is impressive work, being an early access title worth a mention.
Oh no.
Playable Mockup is a cheeky little tribute to Playable Teaser or PT, the cult classic demo to a game that was never made that the internet absolutely loves, where you're exploring another infinite loop corridor with a photography element. You're trying to get from 0 PM to 0 AM, where time moves when taking photos, with the ultimate goal of capturing the soul of the dead at 0 AM, looking all sorts of skin-crawling creepy. I cannot imagine having a more terrifying time than playing horror games in VR, having seen what Resident Evil 7 VR has done to people.
I just set my girlfriend up to play Resident Evil 7 on PlayStation VR. Quest in, and quest that I've been trying to do for like Whoa!
Jesus Christ.
So if you love pooping in your pants, perhaps check out Afterlife VR. You play as a rookie police officer on a routine patrol, getting a call from the Black Rose mental hospital that will change your life forever, with this looking like quite a classic asylum setting with all sorts of supernatural creepy crawlies. A fairly common trope in horror games is the use of low-fidelity graphics like that of the PS1 era, with a low number of polygons and odd angles gives it an unnatural feel, where I have used the term lo-fi graphics as a shorthand, but that seems to have confused people, since lo-fi is more associated with chill music. Nomenclature aside, the Night of the Scissors is what we are looking at, where our character is running away from a serial killer with a similar vibe to that of the 1980s VHS slasher flicks, being an intense and horrifying experience. Indie developers have an uncanny way of making the mundane horrifying, which is perhaps true of our existence as well, but not to get all philosophical, we are looking at Almost Home Now, a short, free entry that is worth checking out. You control a girl walking home alone at night, where the unnatural stillness and quiet does perhaps hint at something sinister hiding in the dark. All I know is that I'm not going to be out alone at night anytime soon, so perhaps that is the ultimate lesson that the developer wanted us to learn. Looks like I spoke too soon. Lights Off is another unsettling first-person horror game about switching off the lights in your home before going to bed, being another free entry worth checking out, where the tension that the developer manages to build is very impressive indeed. Why are so many horror games set in creepy old mansions? I guess that might be the easiest setting to try something scary as compared to a froyo shop or something, where Prognostic is one of those, where you play as an orphan returning to the home of a deceased fortune teller to find out the truth of his family's death, where he himself must become a prognostic, basically someone that can see the future, before the entire town is engulfed in supernatural madness, looking pretty intense as well. Let's kick off the top 3 with Occult, another terrible name in terms of SEO, but it does appear to be a fairly popular co-op title in the vein of games like Devour and Pacify.
Thank you.
You are working together to explore cursed locations, destroying cultists, avoiding monsters and solving puzzles, looking like Phasmophobia on steroids, with there being decent support in terms of post-launch content as well.
Outpost 3000, the place where your party is out of this world.
If you've been following the general theme of this video, you will know that there is plenty of space for shorter experiences in horror games, since it can be difficult to drag something out and consistently make it scary throughout, making DreadX Collection 5 of interest, a collection of 12 titles that will creep you out. If you're into horror games, I do think that all the DreadX collections are worth picking up, so it's nice to see more variety in this space. I'll admit, I did come across Nightmare of Decay when looking for games for indie gaming this week, but as is the case with many games, I gave it a hard pass since it looked rather janky, but a very special shoutout goes to the No Clip podcast, where they recommended this game. While it looks like a PS1 game, this is intentionally the case, where its inspiration is fairly obvious in the original Resident Evil. You are stuck in a manor filled with zombies, cultists and demon dogs, among other terrifying monsters, with limited ammo and resources, which does add to the tension. It's funny how 26 years after RE1, its influence in games is still being felt, so if you'd love a throwback experience, do pick this up, taking the #1 spot. For more horror games, watch these videos and I will see you after the jump.